ready for lots of explosions and disproportionate body mass, because in this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, the Ginyu Force might have finally met its match in the form of the Pride Troopers, the heroic warriors from Universe 11. And in this week's incredibly exciting episode, Goku, Caulifla, and Kale do battle against General Kahseral and 4 other members of the Pride Troopers. If I could boil down this week's episode to a simple phrase, it would be dumb fun action that kicks ass, and I'm okay with that. Turn off your brain for this week's incredibly exciting and over-the-top episode, because the Pride Troopers are finally here. And the pun on these characters is they all seem to be named after kitchen appliances. So let's just talk about all of these ridiculous members. They're not all perfect, but they all have enough distinctiveness about them to allow you to get attached to just about every single member. First, there's Tupper, who is this big, buff, blue alien with a ridiculously awesome handlebar mustache. His name is Tupper, so of course it's a pun on Tupperware, and his actual signature ability allows him to cover his body in what I'm just going to guess is alien Tupperware. Maybe that's really what it is. Maybe it's rock, maybe it's wood, maybe it's some sort of weird alien material that we've never seen before. The point is, he's able to create this organic armor that goes around his entire body, which ends up turning him into like a weird, freaky jack-o'-lantern looking man, but it also increases his weight to the point where he's actually able to hold down his opponents in this episode, like Goku. Zoidberry is probably the most interesting member of the group, if only for the fact that he's just a tiny little imp, and the fact that he can create tornadoes with his body, which leads to a lot of really fun scenes in this episode, getting to watch our favorite Super Saiyans actually punch tornadoes. Just say that aloud, and you'll know why it's fucking awesome. I also love the fact that Zoidberry teams up with Tupper. In fact, it's very similar to Berter and Jace from the Ginyu Force, and I really kind of liked that callback with these two characters doing something really cool together, with Tupper holding on to Goku, and then Zoidberry transforming into his giant tornado and just slamming into Goku, hitting him at his own leisure. And then, of course, there's Cocotte, the dimensional illusionist, who is not only the only member of the Pride Troopers who is lacking a Y chromosome, but also has the abilities to create these other dimensional barriers where she can transport people to, and it can also act as a barrier against very powerful ki attacks, and even doesn't even allow Goku to sense any ki inside, which makes it impossible for him to save anybody if they get trapped inside one of these things, even with his instant transmission. Basically, she's there to sort of work in the background and trap opponents for them to get captured so the Pride Troopers can finish them off. She also seems like a very up-her-ass-own character. What I mean by that is she's overconfident, so to speak, so much so that she feels that her barriers are damn near unstoppable. The problem is they do have one glaring weakness. If she traps herself inside of one of her very own barriers, someone can just pick that up and toss her over the edge. And guess what? That happens, all thanks to Android 18. One member I wish I could say was a little more interesting was Kettle, who is this weird, giant, catfish-looking man. He literally just looks like a giant buff dude with a catfish for a face, and he doesn't really do that much in this episode, which is kind of unfortunate. There's always that one character that they just don't focus on that much, and unfortunately it is Kettle in this episode right here. And then, of course, there's Caulifla himself, who is really awesome, and I can't believe I'm not realizing it until now, but his name is a pun on Casserole, which I think is really funny. But his signature ability is transforming his ki energy into weapons, namely the swords and blades on his hands, which he uses actually against both Android 18 and 17. And I really loved the concept of this battle. I was kind of hoping they would run with it a little bit more, because we have androids going up against a cyborg. I just think that's really awesome. Throughout most of the episode, the Pride Troopers absolutely dominate Goku, Caulifla, and Kale, if only for the fact that they have more numbers. It is until Caulifla and Kale decide to actually team up against a massive group of them that the tides are officially turned. And this is a moment that, again, some people are just going to have to sort of suspend their disbelief a little bit, because not only has Kale in a very short amount of time been able to obtain a super legendary Super Saiyan power that is very similar to Broly's, but she's able to master it in this episode, meaning to actually rein it in, transform into that hulking form, and still have some form of actual consciousness, being able to communicate with people. She has become a real great threat. And the scene where both her and Caulifla actually team up and combine their two ki blasts together looked awesome. I especially loved that it was a combination of red and green, with Caulifla's red ki actually overlapping it and basically turning this into a giant drill. It looked awesome, and it was a great flashy end to a super flashy episode, and that's just all of the material with the Pride Troopers. But let's talk a little bit more about the episode in the rundown for this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. This was a great showcase for the Pride Troopers, although I have to admit it is kind of shocking to see that so many of them were actually defeated in this episode. 5 members in total. They've lost 6, actually, so they're down to the very end of Universe 11, although I'm guessing that Belmod, the clown god of destruction, has a lot of faith in the power of Jiren and Toppo and some of the other mysterious members of the group. So I'm sure their fights are just going to be especially epic, but it's clear that they're definitely going to take their time in building those up. They totally fucked with us, though, in last week's episode by making it seem like Goku and Jiren are going to fight. Hell no, that's not happening. They are going to wait until the very last second to have these two characters probably fight against each other, and man, that is going to suck. I mean, it's obvious they've been setting it up for so long. They've been showing it in the intro, but I'm still kind of hoping in the back of my mind that there is going to be some sort of twist on this arc, because they made it seem like Majin Buu was going to be a part of the tournament, but then they flipped that on us and they gave us Frieza, so I'm willing to believe that there could be some sort of upset in this arc, and there could be someone even more powerful than Jiren. I don't know if they're going to try and do something that ballsy, or if they're just going to give us what we want, which is watching Goku fight against a really seriously buff alien dude. Another thing that I loved about this episode is we got some other cool action scenes from the other characters. We had a great combination moment between Roshi and Tien, with Roshi using his classic electrical surprise technique, and Tien using some sort of advanced form of the Kikoho, and they're attacking this one alien who goes by the name of the Preacho. That's just what Zeno calls him. I don't know what the deal is. All I know is this guy kind of looks like this weird alternate universe version of Cell. But this guy's actually from Universe 3, so he's some sort of weird robot creature. Again, I'm annoyed by the fact that we're not really learning that much about a lot of these characters. I find myself not caring about them that much and just seeing them as sort of these obstacles that can talk. That's really all they are at this point. I mean, there are some that they are building up in a much better way. I mean, they're clearly making it seem like Kale and Caulifla are just going to become so powerful by the end of this tournament that they're going to end up fighting against the main characters, and it's just going to blow our damn faces off. I'm also really disappointed that Frieza took out that one fighter from Universe 10 so easily, Murichim, who is that one, like, super buff, like, version of Krillin, and he didn't get to do anything. We didn't get to see shit. It was just Frieza completely just raping this guy in the corner and no one saw it. And it's like, damn, man, I wish they would sort of pump the brakes a little bit and we could see all of these individual fights. Still, even with that, this was still a pretty solid episode of Dragon Ball Super, although I have to admit that Goku really is pushing it by actually helping out these other universes and not actually just taking them out when they have the opportunity. But then again, that's the way Goku has always operated. He's always looking for an opponent that can be really strong and have a good fight against him, and he clearly sees a lot in the Universe 6 Saiyans. So just strap yourselves in, guys. You know a fight with them is going to eventually just get really awesome. I just can't believe they're able to take so much damage and still keep on fighting. So the next episode should be fun. It looks like they're going to bring in that one transforming girl character. I think her name was Brienne de Chateau. Her and all of her flunkies are going to be fighting against Goku and his team, so I'm sure that's going to be good. They're finally going to get to go to that fight that we've been seeing in the intro for so long of Vegeta fighting against Brienne de Chateau, and I think it's going to be awesome. So this was a fun, explosive, great episode, which was just pure popcorn entertainment from beginning to end. Just a lot of flashy, awesome, cool-looking attacks, and just action nonstop, which is, honestly, I think, at this point in Dragon Ball Super, what we've been waiting for, and it delivered. It wasn't a perfect episode again. There are still some moments that I think could look a little bit better, but as far as entertainment value goes, this episode was a lot of fun. So I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Dragon Ball Super fans. If any of you did watch the episode, please tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. And yes, to answer your question, my backdrop is slightly different today, because I'm actually getting ready to move to a new home. So I'm in the transition of moving some things around. So you're definitely going to see a lot of weird backgrounds for like the next month. But I'm hoping to make it look a lot better, which is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. It's going to be really strange actually moving to a new setup after doing my reviews in my old recording room for so long. But still, I'm excited for some brand new stuff in the pipeline. So there it is. Thank you all again for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like I said. And as always, stay dandy, baby.